Hi guys, and welcome to the Continuum Season 1 recap review by Nerdling Reviews. I'm your resident nerdsbian, Duli, and this is
GingerK.
And so we're going to be talking about Continuum today because we are just about to start the Season 2 premiere, and we wanted to just go ahead and give a quick recap of Season 1.
What happened in Season 1?
What happened in Season 1?
So the future is a corporate-run future because the government has basically failed and corporations came in and took over.
It was the corporate bailout, so
yes.
But in reverse. So the corporations had to bail out the government and therefore were allowed to take over, taking away everyone's rights to do stuff like vote or do, freedom of assembly and all of those things. Exactly. See, that's the thing about the terrorists who are called Liberate, spelled with the number 8, which means that I automatically have to hate them. You kind of can get behind their cause.
Right.
Like, yeah, the corporations are pretty evil. But in the same sense, they spell their name with a number and they blow up and kill,
30,000 people in the first episode. Is that...
I mean, I hate Walmart, but I'm not going to blow up 30,000 people because I hate it.
Right, right. Well, number one, I actually think that the future they have created is possible.
Yeah.
And number two, they're not really pushing any agenda either way. They're telling these stories in this very different world than what we have now in a way that I think people can believe could happen, but they think they wanted it to be very different than the world that we have now. But they're not really setting up or establishing, good or bad, just this is the way that it is. And so you have the terrorists and you have the cops and going after each other, even though you can sort of be behind what some of the cause is. You're definitely not a, fan of the fact that they blew up 30,000 people. And that's not the point of the show. That's a part of what's going on, but it really has to do with the fact that there's these terrorists and she was in the room when they were going to get executed, and instead of getting executed, they all get zapped back into time into the year 2012. And I thought that they did a pretty good job of giving you these tidbits and these ideas of the future that they live in, the laws that they have established without spelling everything out for you, without trying to get you to believe one way or another or decide for you what you should think about the future that has set up, and without really diving too deep into it. It's more just, this is how it is.
And so she basically has to go, she finds herself stuck back in time, and her tech still works, and she tries to call for help, but she gets this kid, she gets this kid on the line. And you come to find out that, of course, this kid is this huge, successful leader of a corporation, and he's created most of the technology that she's using, and he's this really famous guy that she knows of.
Right.
And then of course you find out that he's cigarette smoking man, which is real shame. You're just like, dude, I'm so sorry that you turned into cigarette smoking man when you grew up, but you do. So.
And actually, that's pretty believable too. They actually found two people who look remarkably alike, even though you're sitting there like, I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah,
because you really might turn into cigarette smoking dude.
Young cigarette smoking man was really, the casting was really great.
Yeah, it really was. Okay, so now we have this kid, and the whole reason the kid can talk to her is because he's the creator of this technology. He's just now starting to get it up and running, and she can connect right into it.
And it's one of those where it becomes very obvious early on. I believe it's in the end of the first episode where the cigarette smoking man totally is in on it.
Yep.
To make sure that all of these things come together so that the time travel happens, so that the woman goes back in time, because at that point he knows that all of this has happened already. It's almost like he's the creator of his own future.
Yeah, and so you're
from the future,
and you're still. I think people who were paying attention closely figured out from the first episode that was the case. And then they start, giving you a little bit more information without fully spelling everything out for people, which I appreciate.
Yep. Because the conclusion was ultimately, you had the leader of Liberate, who was Braytak from Stargate SG-1.
Right, exactly.
So Braytak's the leader, and he ultimately kills himself by blowing up a building. And you find out at that point where, of course, that when Braytak is first arrested for the killing of the 30,000 in the future, he meets cigarette smoking man's stepbrother in prison, and he's just like, we've got a job for you. Yeah. And at that point, you know that the pieces are in place where he's going to be told, you're going to go back in time, you need to blow yourself up on your birthday.
Right.
On your literal birthday.
on the day that you were born.
You're going to go blow up a building.
Right. So, some interesting things that I thought about everything that they put together was, first off, the cast. A lot of the people in this have been in other sci-fi shows. And so as an avid sci-fi show watcher, I can really appreciate, and it does sort of let me know as I go into it, that this actually is probably going to be a pretty decent show. The things I think they did well, I was really worried that it was then going to be a really bad, cheesy cop show. Mm-hmm. And that's not what it turned into. It's still, I think they've done a very good job with moving forward with the actual show. Things that I think that could have been done better has to do with the relationships that the main character has with the cop Carlos.
Okay.
I feel like I'm supposed to care about him, but I don't.
Yeah. In terms of, I don't know if it's just how Carlos is written or if it's the actor, who I find to be a little bit of a lughead, a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find that Kellogg is a much more interesting character, and I care about him more. Like,
absolutely.
Like, even though he is a bit of a dick and he's kind of a scumbag, like, you still want him, you know, when he gets the boat, you're kind of like, oh, it's kind of cool. He gets to live in this cool boat.
He got a boat.
You know?
And what's interesting is they're doing this thing with Kellogg where you're like, is he a bad guy? Is he not a bad guy? Yeah, he's a bad guy. Mm-hmm. But he just isn't like,
I'm going to kill everybody.
He's not, I'm going to blow up a building with 30,000 people in it, bad guy. He's a sleazeball. Sure. Fine. You're still thinking, Kira, is that the best choice? Right. But go for it. Whatever. Yeah. Have a little fun.
Yeah, it's not, I wasn't like pissed off at her when she said
Not at all.
I was just kind of like, yeah, why not?
Why not? Sure.
Might as well take advantage of it. I mean,
right. Don't trust him.
Right.
Don't need to.
You don't.
And I really did like that they went that direction versus her having some sort of relationship with the cop, because I didn't buy that relationship at all. The other thing that I have a little bit of a thing with is, so the kid that's in her head, ultimately, why is he spending all of his time and energy helping her when she never really says thanks? She never really appreciates him. It's more just do this, do that.
Right.
And I get it. I get that he's Alex Sadler from the future. I get all of that. But she could be a little nicer to him. But, so I felt like that was another thing. And I love Alec, by the way. I really do. I do like him a lot. Like,
yeah, I think the actor does a great job with him.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like is her relationship with him. I don't really feel... I feel like from his side, his end, he is actually trying to have a friendship, and she's more, look this up. Well, he's definitely in it. I get, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand his character, and I really do get the ultimate motivation is all of the tech and the fact that she does know him from the future. He does want to help her out. Like, all of the obvious stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm thinking you shouldn't just rely on the obvious stuff. If someone's in your head 24/7, you think maybe you would develop a little bit of a friendship. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm not really buying it from her. So when the season ends, right, you have his stepbrother is now on the run, who went and joined Liberate.
He actually got picked up, I thought.
At the very end,
because he was in the van, and he tried to blow it up, and it was never rigged.
Right.
They basically set him up for the fall.
Right. So now I'm wondering if he's been in prison the whole time.
Which seems a bit of... he did try to blow up a building and...
Right, so I could see that he could be in prison the whole time, but I actually want more interesting things to happen with him.
Yeah.
That have to do with his revolution, that have to do with, you know, the
maybe,
you know?
Maybe Alec goes in and talks to him once he's in prison, and maybe we'll have some kind of dynamic with the one brother in prison, and then Alec is out of prison.
When the first episode aired, you know, you have these, I forgot how many, 6 bad guys. But I wasn't interested really in them. And they were all sort of thuggish and didn't really offer anything. And now I feel like that has changed, and I'm happy about that. because they've either killed off the, ones who really didn't have anything to offer. They've enhanced some of the characters.
We have Braytek who blew himself up.
Right.
And then we've got Kellogg who's now on his own.
Right.
Then you've got nerdy scientist guy.
Right.
That's still there.
Right.
What happened to big baldy guy? That was kind of the leader until Braytek came back.
Well, remember Sonia gave Braytek's mom the cash and the diamonds or whatever, right, for her future. And then after that, ran into that...
Baldy guy?
Yeah, right.
He's bald, isn't he?
We clearly don't know, because we're not interested in him. So she says that I'm meant to be the leader of this group, had him at gunpoint. We don't really know what happened.
Okay.
But so she's clearly going to be the leader of this group, and he either goes to prison or is shot and killed. I have no interest in him personally, so they can do whatever they want with him. I really don't care.
I really wish, and this is for my own selfish reasons, but I really wish they do something with blonde lesbian chick.
Right?
Because she's pretty badass.
All they do with her
she's pretty hot too, and, but all she does is run around and maybe shoot a few people and beat some people up. Which was a really cool scene, I'm going to have to say. That scene where the two chicks go in and totally kick the ass of those drug dealers and then steal all of their weed. I mean, that was pretty amazing.
For that episode.
Oh, and the fact that at the end they kind of align themselves with the mayor, not the mayor, but the congressman, politician friend of Carlos.
Yep.
Where they're like, hey, you're going to do this thing for us.
Well, he'll apparently become mayor.
Oh, he will?
Oh,
that's what they said?
Well, yeah, as soon as he got this, they were like, he's on his way to becoming mayor, and, sort of assuming.
So maybe they're like, yeah, we know this guy's going to be mayor in the future. So
right, so they aligned with that guy.
The wrap-up to the season is that...
Where
are we?
What?
The wrap-up to season 1, of course, is that the building blows up. And there's somebody that has shown up. It's Krycek.
Krycek shows up.
So Krycek shows up, and he's like, who is this woman? I don't know of her. I didn't realize we had somebody undercover around here. He's starting to kind of put some things together that this doesn't seem right with this woman.
Right.
And then, of course, he suddenly sees her tech. Alec has managed to make her suit fix her suit, and so she's badass again. And things are about to blow up, and she kind of grabs Alec, and she hits her sleeve, and she gives this protective, force field bubble. And so they're able to be all blowed up, and nothing happens to them. And Krycek sees that, and then she's like, I gotta go disappear, bloop, 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 and she disappears.
Right.
And Krycek sees that. That's pretty much how it ends. With,
so he's all, what?
Yeah.
But he's immediately not thinking, oh my god, there's a girl from the future.
Right.
He's thinking, oh, we have some weird government stuff I didn't know about.
Right. Like, what's...
Probably.
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
And we don't know enough about him, so he could be suspicious. We don't know.
Right. I mean, as much as
it is Krycek.
Yeah. Who knows who he's on the phone with? And as much as we in our culture we have time travel movies or body switch movies or zombie movies. If somebody actually came up to you and was like, I'm from the future, you'd be like,
sure, dude.
Get the fuck out of here, man. Or even if somebody had some cool gadget, like, wow, that gadget looks like it's from the future, because it is. No, it isn't. Shut up. But again, and again, like, it's like if some stranger you never knew came up to you and was just like, we were friends. Remember, I'm Jake. I'm Jake. I got put in the wrong body. You'd be like, holy crap, someone call the police. To that. So let's hope that Krycek doesn't immediately say,
oh my god, from the future.
It's a woman from the future, maybe he's...
Because then the show's starting to go downhill.
Right, maybe he's thinking, maybe she's working for some other secret organization, or maybe this is military going on and not...
Maybe he's thinking, I want some of that tech. How do I get in Section 6?
Section 6? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I do think that Season 1 was definitely... an excellent start to a show. We'll see where Season 2 goes. I think that there's enough unresolved, enough things that have changed, enough things that keep you interested and want to see what happens next. I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, I think they have a lot going for them for Season 2, so I think maybe now we should
watch it.
Totally start watching it. So tune back in for our review of the first episode of Continuum. And hopefully it's going to be just as good as Season 1.